I am 86 years old, and one single question from my grandson made my entire life click into focus. My name is David. I have witnessed almost 9 decades. Wars ended, empires fell, loved ones came and went. I've known soaring joy and bottomless grief. But that quiet question from a boy at the start of his journey, it echoed a doubt I've carried my whole life. The difference is, I'm looking back from the finish line. He's 16. We were driving home, and the silence in the car felt heavier than usual. I asked about his day. He just stared out the window and said, "Grandpa, does anything we do actually last?" We are taught to chase legacy, to build something that endures, to be known, to be significant. We pour ourselves into careers, accumulate accolades, and shout into the digital void, hoping for an echo that says, "You mattered." Here is the quiet truth I learned too late. The moments that truly shape the world almost never feel important while they're happening. Let me tell you about Mrs. Ellis. She lived on my street for 50 years, a librarian, never had a family of her own. She spent her life placing books into the hands of children in a small-town library. When she passed, the notice in the paper was 2 lines. But at her memorial, the room overflowed. A novelist stood and said Mrs. Ellis gave her the key to worlds beyond her own. A scientist said she nurtured his curiosity when others called him a dreamer. A teacher, now with students of her own, said Mrs. Ellis taught her that quiet attention is a superpower. She never built a monument, she built minds, one book at a time. Her impact is still unfolding in stories she never read, in discoveries she never saw. She wasn't trying to change the world. She was simply tending her garden, and from that garden, forests grew. We have it inverted. We believe mattering is a loud, public performance. But life is woven in the silent threads between souls. A word of encouragement that lands at the perfect moment. A gesture of patience when frustration is easier. Showing up consistently when it's not convenient. When I was 42, my world was crumbling. A failed venture, debts piling up. I felt invisible. One night, sitting alone in a diner, an old acquaintance named Paul slid into the booth across from me. He didn't ask for my story. He just talked about his dog, the weird weather, a movie he'd seen. For an hour, I wasn't a failure. I was just a person having coffee. That ordinary conversation was a lifeline I didn't know I needed. He likely never thought of it again, but it rerouted my entire path. That's the secret. Significance doesn't announce itself with fanfare. You'll rarely get a signal telling you that you just saved someone. You'll do something that feels insignificant to you, and it will become a cornerstone for someone else, and you'll walk away unaware. My late wife, Clara, had a habit of baking extra bread. She'd leave loaves on doorsteps for new neighbors, for anyone having a tough week. I'd joke, "Clara, people buy bread." She'd just smile. After she was gone, I found notes tucked in her recipe box. "Your bread got us through that winter." I felt seen for the first time. She wasn't baking for legacy, she was baking for connection. That was her language of love, and it spoke volumes. Your life doesn't need to be extraordinary to be essential. The pressure to be exceptional is a weight that crushes the beauty out of ordinary days. The truth? The world is held together by people whose names will be forgotten. The parent reading one more story, the worker who does their job with care, the friend who sends a text that says, "I'm here," the stranger who returns a lost wallet. You want to measure your impact? Look at the eyes of the person right in front of you. Are you truly there? Are you gentle when you could be harsh? Do you listen more than you speak? These questions won't make you famous. They will make you real. My grandson's question was flawed. Does anything last? Implies we need a permanent grand monument. But meaning is fluid, like water. It flows into the cracks of other lives and changes their shape. I remember teaching my granddaughter to ride a bike. She was scared. I spent a week just holding the seat, running alongside her, saying, "I've got you." She doesn't remember those afternoons, but I know that my presence was the wall between her and fear. That's what lasts. As time runs short, I see clearly. Chasing applause is like chasing the wind. Awards tarnish. Titles fade, but people never forget how you made them feel. They never forget who stood in their corner when the lights were off. Last Tuesday, at the pharmacy, the cashier's hands were shaking. I paused. I said, "Rough day?" She took a breath and told me her father was in hospice. We shared 3 minutes of human recognition. No solution, just witness. As I left, she gripped my hand and said, "Thank you for asking." Will it be history? No. Did it matter in that minute? Absolutely. So here is my answer, to my grandson and to you. Yes. What you do matters, but not in the way you're searching for. It matters in the mundane, the unseen, the painfully ordinary. It matters when you choose integrity over convenience, when you offer hope without expecting a return, when you stay simply because your presence is an anchor. Your life doesn't need to be a headline. It needs to be human. That is the hardest, most significant work there is. I am 86. My hours are numbered. And when I tally the worth of my years, I don't think of trophies. I think of the hands I've held, the silent struggles I've shared, the love I gave when no one was keeping score. That is what endures. That is the only thing that ever really does. If this landed for you, please like this video. It truly helps the Before It's Too Late channel reach others who need this conversation. What is one small, quiet thing you will do today that matters? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe if you want to join me for more talks before my time is up. I still have a few things left to say, but only to those who wish to listen.